Donald Trump's unexpected encounter at a Springfield rally left the crowd speechless when he recognized a familiar face. What happened next was something no one could have predicted. Dear viewers, welcome to our channel. Subscribe to receive more stories every day. The energy was palpable at the packed rally in Springfield, Ohio. As Trump scanned the sea of faces before him, something unexpected happened. While delivering his concluding lines, he suddenly froze. The crowd, hanging on his every word, held their collective breath, unsure of what had caused his abrupt pause. Amidst a sea of red caps and enthusiastic supporters, Trump noticed a woman a few rows back. She wasn't waving frantically or trying to stand out. Instead, she stood quietly, her eyes locked with Trump's, a small smile playing on her lips. As the seconds ticked by, Trump's mind raced. He knew this woman, but something was missing to fully jog his memory. Just then, he opened the floor for questions. After fielding a series of interesting questions from the crowd, Trump gestured toward another raised hand, and the microphone was passed to the woman who had caught his attention not long ago. As she stood up, her poise and grace immediately caught the attention of those around her. "Mr. Trump," she began, her voice clear and confident. "I'm Rachel Summers, Miss Midwest 2005. Trump, ever the showman, couldn't resist a light-hearted quip. With a grin and a nod, he responded, "I see why." The crowd chuckled, and for a moment, it seemed like just another typical exchange at a Trump rally. But as Rachel continued to speak, recounting her past experiences, something changed in Trump's demeanor. His usual bravado gave way to a look of increasing recognition. The playful smirk slowly transformed into an expression of genuine interest, and then, surprisingly, one of warmth. It was as if puzzle pieces were falling into place in Trump's mind with each word Rachel spoke. The audience watched, captivated, as they witnessed a rare moment of vulnerability from a man known for his tough exterior. Trump's mind raced back to 2005, the pageant world, the glitz, the glamour. It all came flooding back. He remembered Rachel clearly now, a vibrant young woman full of life and ambition, with a promising future stretching out before her. Her smile had lit up the stage, and her intelligence had impressed the judges. Trump recalled thinking then that she would go far in life. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. Trump's expression grew somber as he remembered a day years after their initial encounter when news reached him that changed everything. Rachel, the vivacious Miss Midwest, had been diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease. The contrast between the energetic young woman he had met and the image of her fighting for her life in a hospital bed was stark and jarring. Without hesitation, Trump reached for a pen and paper. In an age of quick emails and impersonal texts, he chose to write a handwritten letter. He could almost feel the weight of the pen in his hand as he recalled crafting those words of encouragement and support. The letter wasn't just a formality or a publicity stunt. It was a genuine lifeline thrown to someone in need. Trump had poured sincerity into every word, hoping to provide some comfort, some ray of hope in Rachel's darkest hours. As Trump stood on the stage, these memories washing over him, he realized the impact of that simple act of kindness. Rachel had clung to those words like a drowning person to a life raft. His encouragement had become a beacon of hope, fueling her fight against the illness with a renewed spirit. All because someone she admired had taken the time to care. The realization of the profound effect of his actions visibly moved Trump. His usual composure wavered, and for a moment, the audience glimpsed a man not defined by his political persona, but by his capacity for compassion. "I remember that," he said, struggling to keep his usual composure in check. As all eyes turned to Rachel, waiting for her response, the atmosphere crackled with anticipation. This was no longer just a story from the past. It was a reunion unfolding in real time, with the potential to reveal a side of Donald Trump that few had ever witnessed. But that side was not just emerging now. It had been hidden behind his larger-than-life persona for a long time. It had existed since before he ran for president and long before his path had first crossed with a young woman whose future had once seemed so bright. Life had seemed full of promise for Rachel Summers from Springfield, Ohio. After being crowned Miss Midwest at the age of 23, Her beauty, intelligence, and charisma caught the attention of many, including Donald Trump, who was involved with the pageant at the time. However, just a few years after her reign, Rachel's world was turned upside down. In 2012, at the age of 29, she was diagnosed with a systemic autoimmune disease, a rare and incurable condition that affects the immune system, causing severe inflammation and debilitating pain. The diagnosis was devastating. Rachel went from being a vibrant, lively young woman to struggling with basic daily activities. Her symptoms included chronic fatigue, joint pain, and extreme weakness. The once pageant queen now found herself spending more time in hospital rooms than on stages. As her condition worsened, Rachel faced not only physical challenges, but also emotional and financial ones. Medical bills piled up, and the stress of managing her illness while caring for her young son, Liam, took its toll. It was during this dark period that she received an unexpected lifeline, a personal letter from Donald Trump. Trump had learned of Rachel's condition through mutual acquaintances in the pageant world. His handwritten letter, filled with words of encouragement and promises of support, arrived at a time when she felt most alone and hopeless. The letter wasn't just empty words. It was followed by tangible support from Trump's organization, including assistance with medical expenses. Despite the grim prognosis, Rachel refused to give up. Inspired by Trump's unexpected kindness and driven by her love for her son, she became an advocate for those with invisible illnesses. She used her platform as a former beauty queen to raise awareness about autoimmune diseases and inspire others facing similar challenges. Over the years, Rachel's condition has remained a daily struggle, but her spirit has remained unbroken. She has become a symbol of hope and resilience in her community, often crediting Trump's support as a crucial factor in her ability to keep fighting. Now, standing in the crowd at his rally, Rachel is no longer just a face from his past. She represents a living testament to the power of compassion and the unexpected ways in which lives can intersect and impact each other. As Trump's question hung in the air, a palpable tension filled the arena. The crowd, moments ago a sea of excitement, now fell into a hushed silence. All eyes turned to Rachel, who was fighting back tears, overcome with emotion. She began to speak, her voice initially trembling with the weight of memory and gratitude, but quickly growing stronger. "Mr. Trump," she began, her words punctuated by barely suppressed sobs, "I'm here to thank you in person for that letter. It was my biggest dream." She paused, taking a deep breath to steady herself. Trump waited patiently, his usual impatience replaced by a look of genuine concern and empathy. Rachel's voice grew stronger as she continued, revealing that Trump's generosity hadn't stopped with her. "But it wasn't just me you helped," Rachel said, her eyes shining with pride and gratitude. "My son, Liam, who has worked so hard all his life, received a full scholarship to a prestigious university through your organization." A murmur of surprise and admiration rippled through the crowd. Trump's expression softened further, a mix of humility and quiet pride crossing his features. At that moment, political division seemed to melt away, replaced by a shared appreciation for this moment of genuine human connection. Supporters and critics alike watched in rapt attention, witnessing a side of Donald Trump that transcended political boundaries. When Trump finally found the words, he delivered a powerful message every mother would love to hear. "We'll be watching your boy," Trump said, his voice thick with emotion. "You're going to be around to watch him too. The doctors are wrong. You'll be there. But even if something happens, we'll be helping you and your son nonetheless." The crowd remained silent, looking at Trump with a mixture of pride and awe. Here stood a man often painted by the media as a shrewd businessman with a hardened heart. Yet here he was, promising to watch over a dying mother's son as if it was a personal mission. This image of Trump was far different from what many people in the audience were used to seeing. "Thank you. God bless you," Rachel said, her voice stronger now, no longer trembling. The president's promise to look after her son meant the world to her, but she wasn't done with her story yet. She wanted Trump to understand just how much his support had shaped her life. "I've been writing letters for my son," she continued, her voice breaking slightly as emotion washed over her again. "Letters for him to read when I'm gone, so he knows everything you've done for us. And I tell him that he has a great responsibility now to pay it forward, just like you did with us." "That is so nice, thank you, so nice," Trump replied, clearly moved. Some people in the crowd would later swear that they saw tears at the corners of Trump's eyes. And though he tried to keep still, it was obvious the emotional moment was taking a toll on him as well. Rachel was openly crying now, her pride and happiness mixing with grief. The sight of this former beauty queen, reduced to tears by her overwhelming emotions, was too much for Trump. "I'm sorry," the president said, addressing the crowd. "I have to go down and say hello. Is that okay?" The crowd erupted in cheers like never before as Trump stepped down from the podium and made his way across the river of spectators between him and Rachel. As he approached her, the crowd parted like the Red Sea, people craning their necks and standing on tiptoes, desperate to witness this unscripted moment. Rachel stood frozen, her eyes wide with surprise and emotion, barely believing what was happening. When Trump finally reached her, he didn't hesitate. In full view of thousands of attendees and millions watching on television, he opened his arms wide. Rachel, overcome with emotion, stepped into his embrace. The hug wasn't the quick, formal embrace of political expediency. It was warm, genuine, and heartfelt. Trump enveloped Rachel in his arms, one hand gently patting her back in a gesture of comfort and support. For a moment, it seemed as if time stood still. Here, in the midst of a political rally, was a display of raw human emotion and connection that transcended party lines and ideological divides. As they finally parted, Trump kept his hand on Rachel's shoulder, looking her in the eyes with an expression of genuine concern and admiration. Rachel, her face streaked with tears but beaming with a mixture of gratitude and newfound determination, nodded at whatever Trump was saying to her. The cameras, which had been focused solely on Trump throughout the rally, now panned between the two of them, capturing this unexpected reunion in living rooms across America. Viewers leaned in closer to their screens, captivated by the unfolding story of compassion and its lasting impact. As the hug broke, a charged silence fell over the arena. All eyes turned to Trump, waiting to see what he would do next. The man known for his quick retorts and forceful statements now stood quietly, visibly moved by Rachel's words. It was clear to everyone present that what happened next would be anything but ordinary. Trump turned to face the crowd, but his demeanor had changed. "This," he said, his voice thick with emotion as he gestured toward Rachel, "this is what it's all about." He paused, seeming to gather his thoughts. The microphone picked up a slight tremor in his voice as he continued. "Not politics, not power, but people, real people facing real challenges." He looked around the arena, making eye contact with as many people as he could. "This is why we do what we do. This is why I'm here." Then he turned once more to Rachel. "You keep fighting, Rachel. You keep holding on because your son needs you. And frankly, we all need more people like you. You're an inspiration, not just to your son, but to every single person in this arena and beyond." The crowd erupted in applause, a standing ovation that seemed to shake the very foundations of the building. No one in the room could know it, but somewhere across the state, a young man with tears in his eyes was watching his mother being pulled into a loving hug by the President of the United States. Liam knew how hard life had been for his mother since she had been diagnosed with her illness, how hard she had fought to stay strong for him, and how much President Trump's handwritten letter of support had meant to her. And now, as he saw her in the arms of a man she admired so much, he could tell that she hadn't been this happy in a long time. The roar of approval was deafening as Trump hugged Rachel one last time. Then, as he made his way back to the stage, everyone could feel that the energy in the room had drastically shifted. At that moment, Donald Trump wasn't just a polarizing political figure. He was a reminder that behind the headlines and heated debates, politics is ultimately about people, their struggles, their triumphs, and the connections that bind us all together. The cameras captured it all. The embrace, the emotional exchange, the promise made. In living rooms across America, Viewers watched in stunned silence, witnessing a side of Donald Trump that transcended political boundaries and touched on something fundamentally human. As Trump and Rachel stood in that room, it was clear to everyone present that they were witnessing a moment that would be remembered long after the rally was over. It was a moment that reminded everyone, regardless of their political leanings, of the power of compassion and the enduring impact of a single act of kindness. As the rally concluded, the impact of Trump's compassionate gesture lingered. The crowd slowly began to disperse, but the conversations that followed weren't about the usual political talking points. Instead, people were discussing the moment that had just unfolded, a moment that had moved an entire room and had the potential to resonate far beyond it. Trump's final words that day were ones that echoed long after the rally. In the end, it's not about what we do for ourselves. It's about what we do for others. That's what lasts. Dear viewers, thank you for watching. If you like this story, please subscribe to our channel to receive more stories every day. Share with us what you think of this story.